I don't even know what possessed me to read it, but thank God I was possessed. If I had bought that book, thank God I didn't, because it was a disappointment. Okay? Long time no see. Welcome to my June and July reading wrap-up. I did not do a wrap-up for June. I don't think I did one for May either, to be honest, but I'm not really gonna get into that one too much. It was a good reading month, but I think what I might do is, like, at the end of the year, all the books that I really loved from each month, I'll probably just compile those and then talk to you guys about that, because although I did like the books that I read in May, there were a couple that I want to highlight, but I can do that in a separate video. It's really hot today. Oh my god, I'm actually melting. Anyways, the first one I want to talk about is Loving the Reaper by Lola King, and this was a dark romance. I gave this one a 3 out of 5 stars. I'm gonna be honest, I don't really remember a lot about this one. It was good. Okay, it wasn't a bad book. It just wasn't anything too memorable. Okay, did I enjoy it? Yes. Were there some parts of it that I was giggling about? Yes. Would I recommend it? Yeah, check it out. But I don't have a lot to say. The next one, though, I have a lot to say about this one. I have a lot to say about this one. I read The Maidens in June. June 10th was the day that I finished this book, and I generously gave it a 2-star. Guys, I don't think I have despised a book so much in my entire life. Like, genuinely. Also, if I keep looking back, there's a mirror set up over there so I can, like, tell if I'm recording, but I genuinely don't think I've ever despised the book so much in my entire life. Especially this year, at least. Okay? Oh my goodness. Like, I have this author's other book, The Silent Patient, and I haven't read it yet, and I've heard great things about it, but I heard even greater things about The Maidens. Okay? I heard even greater things about The Maidens. Yet this book was so disappointing because I was expecting such a good ending, right? Because you've got 90% of the book going great, right? And then you're like, oh, the ending's going to be great. And then it turned out to be the most childish thing ever. Okay? My opinion. Do I recommend you read it? I don't know. But I'm just saying, it was the most childish ending I genuinely have ever read in my entire life. Okay? Like, I was sitting there wondering why I spent all this time reading this book for absolutely no reason. Because why on earth would you lead on the reader for the entire time, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, that didn't happen? And listen, I am all for unreliable narrators. I am all for unreliable narrators, okay? Sign me up. But what pisses me off is that you literally are going to create this entire plot, and then in the end, right, so you're going this way, and yeah, I get it, that's supposed to, like, you know, like, the top of the climax and the book falls and then it ends. Yeah, we learned that in 6th grade, but not in 6th and 2nd. But then why is it going, like, you get to the climax, but then, like, you're not even there, you're, like, falling already, because the climax is here. It's not even, like, it's going, I don't even know, it's just going like this. It's a straight line at this point. It's a straight line at this point, because you're expecting something and then nothing happens. It was genuinely the dumbest ending, okay? Because I was so happy with the details. The details were my favorite thing in this book, and I think that's why I could not give it a 1 star, but I feel like I should have, because the plot was not doing it for me. The plot was really not doing it for me. It was so annoying to read that ending. It was, like, I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw that book across the room. Thank God it was a library book, because if I had bought that book, thank God I didn't, because it was a disappointment. Moving on. This book. I can't even pronounce the title. Because I'm gonna be honest, I always struggle saying that word, but I gave it a 3-star. Do I remember a lot of it? No. Do I remember any of it? No. It was a 3-star. It was I read Love Redesigned by Lauren Asher, and I've been wanting to read this book for so long. I've had it since it came out. Me and Alicia bought it, like, I think it was, like, the day that it came out, we bought it. And oh my god, it was such a good read, guys. I gave it a 4-star. It was such a sweet read. I annotated it. I'm not done annotating, like, I'm not done, like, writing in it. I've tabbed all of it, but you guys will be seeing the annotations soon. Very, very, very well written. Okay, first of all, I love those characters. I think I was talking about this on my TikTok, and I don't even know if I kept it in. The need to have real characters. And Lauren Asher did that with this book. Okay? Julian and Dahlia were genuinely some of the most real characters I've ever read. And what I mean by real character is, like, a real person, right? Like, I'm not just reading a story about Little Miss Perfect and guy who can do everything. Okay? One time I read a book, I don't remember the title, but I read a book, it was an arc, and I literally had to email the author and be like, I can't read it anymore. The guy could do everything. He was the fireman, the plumber. Like, I'm not even joking. He was a fireman. He was a plumber. He was, what's it called? He was also, like, running the biggest business. It was insane. So thank God it wasn't like that. Okay? These people have real life problems. Real life problems that, like, honestly, you could sit there as the reader and be like, okay, yeah, this is something that would happen in real life, you know? So that was really interesting. I really enjoyed that book. The plot was really good, and I loved the emotions in that book, because you don't have characters who are like, oh, I fell off a tree and I broke my ankle. Like, no. Like, you have actual issues going on. You have these, these 2 characters trying to deal with their family, trying to deal with themselves. And it was just so, it was sad, but it was great. It was all these books are happy endings, by the way, okay? Except for The Maidens. I don't know what the heck that was. But anyways, all the books that I would recommend are going to be happy endings. I don't read anything rather than that. Anyways, so it was a very, very fun read, okay, because it had me sad, it had me happy, it had me giggling. It was a beautiful book. It was a absolutely beautiful book, and you have childhood rivals in that, but then also you had like you had a family, you had found family, and that's like my favorite trope. Found family is on top for me. Okay, on top. It was a beautiful book. I am currently reading the second book, and I have a lot of opinions, but I think I'll save them for when I finish the book. They're not the greatest opinions. Apologies. Let's talk about another book that I read that I absolutely loved, and I didn't think I would. Not that I wouldn't love it, but I didn't think I would understand it all that much because I don't read this genre. This is The Night and the Moth by Lauren, by Rachel Gillig. And I gave this book a 4-star, but I'm genuinely thinking to go back and give it a 5-star. I don't usually read high fantasy or fantasy in general because I honestly don't really understand it all the time, because if it's like, you know, a lot of world building, I get stuck in that. But this book was so good. I had heard of all the Rachel Gillig, what is that thing called? Rachel Gillig hype? Yeah. I had heard of all the Rachel Gillig hype back in like when I think it was called One Dark Window or something came out, that duology, and it was a duology, right? Yeah. And everyone was going crazy for it, but I was like, I don't really want to read it right now. I tried reading it. I didn't really like the first couple of pages. This one, on the other hand, though, it just sounded really interesting. And that one sounds interesting too, but I'm just not there yet. This one, I don't even know what possessed me to read it, but thank God I was possessed. Oh my goodness. I loved this. I love the plot in this book. So well written. And like, if you're not a fantasy reader like me, I would still recommend this book because it tells everything really well. You know, you don't have to sit there and like wonder like, oh, in page 1 that happened, well now it's happening in page 500. No, everything connects, everything's fine. The banter, oh my goodness. Rory and Sybil and the gargoyle, guys, my favorite character, the gargoyle. I don't want to say much, but oh my goodness, I love these characters. Like, these are characters that you will not forget. Honestly, they were funny, they were real, they were adventurous, right? And you don't have a damsel in distress. You have a baddie. This is about 6 diviners, and Sybil was the 6th one. And essentially, diviners, what they do is that they dream and they tell the omens of like people who come to like have their dreams told, and it's a whole thing. Secrets are revealed. Diviners are missing. She finds a knight named Rory. Rory has secrets, and it's so good. It was interesting too. That was the thing. I don't have the physical copy, or I would have annotated the crap out of it, but we're working on that. We're getting the physical copy. Why is it $40? Like, Canadian book prices actually make me want to cry. But anyways, we might invest one day. Moving on. We are now going to move on to the 2 books I read in July, because I only read 2 books and they were both rereads. But anyways, the next book I want to talk about is Done and Dusted by Lila Sage. Also, happy birthday, Lila Sage. This is being filmed on August 1st, and August 1st is Lila Sage's birthday. And oh my goodness, I don't even know, guys. I just love this series. It's such a comfort read. It's such a comfort read. I read I think there's 4 books, right? I cannot keep count. I'm pretty sure 1, 2, 3. No, there's 4 books, and I read 3 of them last year. Okay, the 4th one came out. I'm pretty sure the 4th one came out this year, April 15th. The 4th one came out April 15th. But I like the other one I had read. Oh my god, guys. Okay, the other one, the one before that, book 3 had came out November 5th, and I had read it like in November, so I didn't really remember exactly what happened. But even though I wanted to, because I like knowing like what happens to the characters in the book before to know what happens to the characters in the book after, you know. So I was like, instead of just reading the last book, which is Wild and Wrangled, why not to read the entire series? So read Done and Dusted, read Swift and Saddles. I'm currently reading Lost and Lust, so then we're gonna read Wild and Wrangled. And Done and Dusted is just like, it's such a fun read because like you have these hilarious characters, and it's found family, right? And it's funny, right? It is so funny because it's such a feel-good series. It's such a summer read. It is such a road trip, beach, mountains, literally anywhere where you're just chilling. I would recommend this series. And these covers are also stunning. These are so cute. But yeah, I don't like, guys, I don't even know, like I can't even put into words what like how these make me feel. I can just tell you the vibe, and that's the vibe. Feel good vibes. But what I can talk about is Swift and Saddled, because I have a lot to say about this book, and I give this book a 5-star because I ate it up. Listen, I ate up this entire series, but this book is my highlight. So Weston hires a interior designer to interior design, and that is Ada. Now, the funniest thing about this book was that it was reverse Grumpy Sunshine. I don't know if that's like the official trope for it, but that's what kind of what I got the vibes from. And it was so funny because like, okay, let me give you guys a little bit of background of like what I usually think of reverse Grumpy Sunshine. I I don't know. I feel like I read a couple of reverse Grumpy Sunshine books where you've got the guy just kind of being overbearing. Okay, like I feel like with just Grumpy Sunshine in general, you have character like the FMC is not unbearable. You know what I mean? She's like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. I just felt like the guy. I completely forgot what book it was. I read reverse Grumpy Sunshine. And the guy was just like, he was too much, and I'm like, yeah, this is not it. Anyways, and then I judged the entire trope. I'm sorry. I apologize. I apologize. Lala Sage redeemed that for me. Anyways, and yeah, it was so cute because he wasn't overbearing. He was just really sweet. Like there was this one line. I don't have my I mean I do have my Kindle, but I don't know if it's gonna pull up on my iPad. But there was this one line where Weston was just talking about how he's like he's always seen as like the nice guy. No one really understands like that he also goes through stuff, you know? And I think my favorite thing about this book was that how it talked about mental health. Both books talked about mental health, but this one just like I don't know. It was really it was sad, but it was just well written. You know, you don't have like insensitive like and he was depressed and so he was crying. No, you have like a whole understanding of that. They have a conversation about it, right? There's the whole like you know when people get uncomfortable talking to someone who has mental health problems? There was that idea too where Ada's talking to Weston and she's like, is it okay for me to talk about this and whatever? So that was really cute to me because like cute as in I don't mean like oh my god that's so cute. I mean cute as in like it was real. You know, you have a couple who's talking each other's problems, who's talking about each other's mental health, who's talking about things that they want, things that they don't want, and it was so cute because it felt real, right? You have a real couple. You didn't have two people thrown together for the sake of a book. You have a real couple. Also, there was a really cute dog. Guys, I love it when there's like that extra character because okay, going back to The Night and the Moth, Bartholomew, that's how you say it, right? I'm pretty sure Bartholomew. That was so funny because the gargoyle would call everyone that and it was just it's like become a running joke. Like if you guys see any comments for any video that's about The Night and the Moth, you're gonna see that comment. It was just really funny. But this has a really cute dog named Waylon. I love Waylon. He's so cute. I also really like it when books like mention characters who notice really like little things about each other. Like there's a scene where Ada was working at the place and she was just writing stuff on her iPad. And Weston says that she was always tucking pens behind both of her ears. She was so immersed in her work that she didn't realize she had already had one, so she ended up with these little pen horns. And that was just like so funny because like it wasn't rushed, right? And it was just something that kept on coming up. It's like, oh, she had her little pen horns again. She had her little pen horns again. And that was just really cute. By the way, I don't know if I've mentioned this, but the Rebel Blue Ranch series is about siblings. So the first book is Done and Dusted, which is Luke Brooks and Clementine Ryder. And Clementine, her what's it called nickname is Emmy. I don't know why I didn't give you guys context about this earlier, but her nickname is Emmy, and that book is a brother's best friend's brother trope. They kind of hate each other and then they realize they don't. The second book is Swift and Saddled, which is workplace essentially. And then the third book, which I'm reading right now, is Lost and Lassoed, which is Nanny and a Single Dad. And then the last book, Wild Mangled, is Second Chance. I'm pretty sure I haven't read that one yet, but that one is, I'm pretty sure, Second Chance. And all of them slap, all these tropes slap. And essentially, they are siblings. Okay, so the writer is essentially the writer family. So Luke Brooks is the writer's like unofficial son-ish. Okay, like he's always there. So he's been there. He has his backstory, which you should read about. Really sad, really interesting. Really good. Okay, Ada is a big city girl, and Weston is a small town guy. And then in the third book, you have Teddy, who is Emmy's best friend, and you have Gus, who hates Teddy. And Teddy then becomes Gus's nanny for his daughter, Riley. Now, the interesting, now keep it with me, okay, keep it with me. Gus's baby mama is Cam, who the last book is about, but they're on good terms, so they're not beefing or anything. And when you read about it, see, okay, here's the thing. When I was first reading the book, like any of the books, I was like, oh, it's gonna be weird. It's gonna be like, oh, like, you know, Cam's jelly or Gus's jelly, and everyone's like, oh my god, you shouldn't be this, but da da da. No. Okay, you will understand what the plot is when you get to reading it, so that was good. But yeah, the last book is about Cam and Dusty is the writer's friend also, just like Brooks is, but what's it called? I forgot Dusty's like whole thing because he's not talked about as much in the rest of the books as much as everybody else's. So when you get to Dusty's book, I'll put up a review on that and we can talk about that then. But that was Swift and Saddled, and that wraps up all the books that I read this month and last month. I read 2 books this month and I literally had a plan to read a whole bunch. But anyways, those were the books that I read in June and July, and I hope you enjoyed this video. And let me know if you read any of these books, and let me know if your reading month went well, because mine surely didn't. I don't have a TBR for August, but if I do, I'll make a video about that. That is all for today, and I hope you enjoyed.